Labour costs are rising all over the world, which means it's more important than ever to get maximum value out of your staff. Now, that doesn't mean just making people work faster. It means you want to be paying your staff for work that adds value and avoiding tasks that don't. So, here are 8 smart ways to lift your employee productivity so you can get the most out of your labour spend. We'll start with a simple one, which is to remove environmental noise and hazards wherever you can. A noisy, unpleasant work environment saps morale. It can lead to high turnover, which definitely kills productivity, and it also contributes to mistakes that take time to fix and slows down your rate of work. Again, if you're paying staff, you want to pay them for value-adding work, not meaningless admin. So get ruthless about spotting and eliminating low-value admin. The classic example here is processing sales orders. A customer of ours told us that they used to take a full day to process a sales order because they had so many checks and steps involved, and they were moving the work between different systems. So they've been accepting orders by email, checking stock, buying from suppliers, and raising invoices all in different places. But once they moved on to Unleashed and they used our B2B e-commerce portal to take their orders, all of those steps are brought into one place, and they now take 5 minutes to process a sales order that used to take 8 hours to complete. And they have just 3 staff comfortably managing over 2,000 SKUs, which is basically the definition of radical labour productivity. We all need to balance quality against cost in business, but when you do so, make sure you weigh any short-term savings against long-term risks to productivity. So for your office workers, that means laptops and a data plan that let them work quickly online. And for manual workers, make sure that lower quality components aren't slowing them down, because there's no point saving money with cheap screws if 1 in 10 of them strips out on the production line. This one's particularly important for manufacturers because nothing kills your staff productivity like paying people to wait for parts to arrive. So the simplest way to avoid that is by investing in a quality inventory management system that prompts you with low stock alerts, and you can learn more about these below. Now, easier said than done sometimes, but point number 5 is about avoiding overtime. Obviously, paying for the occasional overtime shift at time and a half works out cheaper than hiring more full-time staff if they would be underutilised. Just make sure you take a long view of your overtime costs. Add up what you spend on overtime each year and think about how you can use that spend to offset the issue. You might find that production planning software will help you squeeze more time into your 9 to 5 hours, or you could invest in a rostering tool. Look, I jumped on GetApp just now. I found 72 different rostering apps that track overtime, so you definitely have options. On the flip side, if you have an underutilised workforce, you might be able to pad your schedule with external work. The classic model here is contract brewing. Basically, craft brewers need a minimum level of investment in equipment and staff to get going, but until they've grown their brand, they'll often have low production levels compared with their costs, and that equals low staff productivity. The fix here comes from taking on brewing jobs for other businesses who lack staff and gear, which can dramatically lift a brewer's productivity. Now, that approach won't suit every business or industry, but for some, it's a smart option, even just for a few years until you grow. You might not think the productivity of contractors is your issue, but that's wrong. That same productivity principle applies here. Don't pay your contractors for work that doesn't add value. A common example is your accountant. If they spend tedious hours reconciling purchase orders with your accounts, that's just a waste of money and time. Instead, you can easily integrate your purchasing and accounting software so that reconciliation process is automated and happens in real time. Finally, the silent killer of staff productivity is low morale. Many of the points I've mentioned, like noisy workplaces, poor quality tools or excess overtime can also lead to low staff morale. And staff that have low morale tend not to go that extra mile. They also leave, and anyone who's been caught in a constant hiring and training cycle knows what a drag that is on productivity. So what's the fix? Look, there are 100 theories on how to keep staff happy and engaged, but ultimately the best approach can be to trust the professionals. If you have any number of staff and you don't have a people and culture manager, you probably need one. They'll ensure you hire the right people and retain the staff you have. So there you have it, 8 not so obvious but very powerful ways you can lift your staff productivity. I hope you found them useful. If you'd like to get in touch about any of the solutions mentioned here or learn about Unleashed, all of our details are in the description below. Until then, my name's Greg Rowan and I'll see you in the next video.